Good day, everybody. Yes, I know this is a little unusual, just looking at me with an avatar and just my voice, but I think, truthfully, that my digital camera has officially gone on the fritz. So, for this show, and possibly one or two more Psychos platters, you are just going to unfortunately get to pretend that you are listening to a radio show, which is kind of in essence what the heck this is, if you think about it. The only difference is it is just over YouTube, right? Right. I want to welcome you. This is an introduction to a new sub-series that will be coming soon. I thought I would just give you a little bit of an introduction here. This is all a work in progress. Um, the story about all of this, if you will allow me a minute or two to explain. As everybody has known, I have been on YouTube for 15 years. I also dabbled in radio on and off for about 7 years as well. But I was directed, if you will, to start a series of, uh, of Christian, what do you want to call it? Well, this is why we're calling it Stepping Stones to Christ, because that's exactly what this is. Thing is that you know, you out there listening to this, along with myself, we we've done a lot of things that maybe we've regretted, a lot of mistakes, a lot of foibles. We've stumbled, we fell. Excuse me, and there were times that I wish I knew that what to do or why when I was younger did I feel so alone in the world, even though we could be surrounded in a room full of people, yet you still feel alone on the inside. And been there, done that. But here's the thing. Ever since I was a little kid, about 5 or 6 years old, all right, um, I had an Aunt Jean, okay, an Aunt Jean that went off and she'd watch all these televangelist shows, okay, which televangelists, in my opinion, give Christianity a bad name, but I digress. She goes off in front of my mother and my grandmother and goes off and says, I got something to show you, Paul, and I want you to tell me what it is. In case you're wondering what little noise in the background, yeah, my grandson is here. But you know how kids are when you want them to stay a little quiet while you're trying to record something. Needless to say, my Aunt Jean goes off and pulls out this cross made out of petrified wood. You ever seen one of those? And my aunt goes off and turns to my mom and grandma and says, Don't you tell him what this is. And she asks me and says, What is this, Paul? And I said, Well, that's the letter T, Aunt Jean. Needless to say, literally the next week, I was enrolled in Sunday school at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. It's true. It's real true. I remember being little, and we would sing these gospel hymns. This is like early '70s stuff, okay? And the little lighthouse, one of the songs, of course, was this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine, and we'd put our little change into that thing. I remember that. Um, the thing is, though, is that, and even though I did go to Sunday school and I went to youth group and I went to church all the way till, oh, what was it? Probably about 18, 19 years old. For a year, I thought I felt the calling. I went to go study to be a minister in the Lutheran Missouri Synod branch. But I was too immature. I was 17 going on 18, and I guess I just really wanted to sow my oats instead, like young kids that can be like. So what I'm getting at out of all of this is, I've been on the path and off the path to Jesus for most of my life. And these last few years have made me think. I have had loved ones, just like you guys out there have loved ones that pass. But in about 7 years, in the last 7 years, almost 8, I've had a lot go and pass. My late wife, followed by my who I call my dad, my stepfather, who was dad to me. A bunch of high school classmates, 2 ex-girlfriends, a former fiance, and then about almost going on 6 months ago, my last girlfriend of over 3 years, who was one of the most grounded, down to earth individuals, who she believed in God. She belonged to Church of Christ. Just giving you things here. And even though I always believed in Jesus, I didn't always put the focus on him, okay, like I should. But she passed away suddenly in late February of this year. And before she did, we were going to go to church. We were talking about it, and then she got sick, and then I got sick, and then she passed away before we could really go together. And she belonged to that church for over 20 years. When she died, that very next day was a Sunday. And I went to her church because, A, I wanted some familiarity. I wanted loving, caring people around that knew her, could tell me stories of her, And B, because I think it woke something up in me that was dormant for quite a while. But I learned that, no matter what hits us in life, okay, no matter what hits us in life, we could feel defeated. I was in a grief spiral like nothing I've felt in a long time. And I think you guys, some of you would know how that's like too, where you feel like there's nothing left, you've hit bottom. But then I looked up and I turned to God. I said, please help me. And that's where now, 6 months after, I was called inside. I had a voice inside called me to start doing these. Now, we're not going to officially do this series for at least probably until at least I can get myself a working camera, and maybe the fall time. I'm thinking like maybe around October. We're going to start doing these on a semi-regular basis. Normally, they will be this much yippee yap about me, because it's not all about me. It's all about Jesus Christ. That's what this is about, not me. And we'll play a handful of songs like we're going to do right now. I'm going to start off here with the song called Above All. There's no one like you. And yes, Lenny LeBlanc sings this.
Above all powers, above all kings, above all nature and all created things, above all wisdom and all the ways of man, you were here before the world began. Above all kingdoms, above all thrones, above all wonders the world has ever known, above all wealth and treasures of the earth, there's no way to measure what you're worth. Crucified, laid behind a stone, you lived to die, rejected and alone, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all. Above all powers, above all kings, above all nature and all created things, above all wisdom and all the ways of man, you were here before the world began. Above all kingdoms, above all thrones, above all wonders the world has ever known, above all wealth and treasures of the earth, there's no way to measure what you're worth. Crucified, laid behind the stone, you lived to die, rejected and alone, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all. Oh, you were crucified and laid behind a stone. You lived to die, rejected and alone, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall, thought of me above all, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all.
the main messages that I want to convey to you is that God placed Christ on earth to die for us. This is true. John chapter 14, verse 6 in the King James Version says, Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. In other words, Jesus is the only way. That's a fact. Jesus is the way to get to heaven. Believing in Jesus. That's the key. Now, for some artists, the gospel gets, everybody's got talents, right? Everybody has talents that get given by God. I guess my talent is yip yap, right? But still, I can convey a message. That's my talent, I guess. For this gentleman's talent, Mr. Phil Kiki, he goes off and he says, play through me. And by the way, just to throw a little comparison here, it does sound at times a little Steely Danish. So let's listen to this.
Up late again tonight, I feel a song coming on too. I might write one for you, but say, where did I find these chords? I never heard them before. But you've begun, but don't stop until you're through. I've been listening to the radio, and when I do, there's something I listen for. Great of truth that makes me long for more of you. Make your own melody, fill my heart with song. Play how you feel, oh play for me. Healing can come through the song your own hands have done. This is for real, no fantasy. There's no position on earth that can take the place where we live in. I can be found upon the strong, solid ground.
Some of the lyrics in that song, I can be found upon this rock on solid ground, and say, haven't you heard? There's no limit to the power of God. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7 says, for God gave us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. Through God, all things are possible if you believe, and that's the truth. You know, sometimes in life, you may feel like God failed you or wasn't there for you, right? Been there and done that. But God is always here, and Jesus is always here, and the Holy Spirit is always here. I'm calling this program Stepping Stones to Christ because this is a personal journey to get to know Christ more and more. He is our salvation. And out of all honesty, I hope that doing these programs will help you get to know Him more. And I feel that over time, maybe we can have a community. I think that would be very important. You know, it's a church community of believers. You don't have to have a building to have a church. In today's age, there's so many ways for the word to be expressed and given to the world itself. Now, of course, John 3:16. Well, everybody, that's one of the more, well-known verses, right? For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him shall not perish but have eternal life. Boy, is that the truth. The gospel is the truth. That is a fact. Now, here on this show, I'm not a pastor, but a voice for God, by God. I'm not perfect, but hopefully by doing these on at least a semi-regular basis, we can grow in faith like a mustard seed. Yeah, that's one of the smallest seeds on earth, is a mustard seed. And faith, believe it or not, can make it bloom for all to see that the Lord works within us and through us, which leads us into our next tune, Guide My Path. This is what we should be praying for.
When the world feels dark and hope is hard to see, your word lights the way, shining truth in me. Every step I take, you're walking by my side. Jesus, I'm holding on. You're my faithful guide. Jesus, guide my path, light the road ahead. I will trust your word, every word you've said. When I cannot see, I will not be afraid. Jesus, guide my path, forever you will stay. Voices all around, telling me what's right, but your voice is clear, breaking through the night. Fear will never win, Your promise always stands. You hold tomorrow, Lord. My life is in your hands. Jesus, guide my path, light the road ahead. I will trust your word, every word you've said. When I cannot see, I will not be afraid. Jesus, guide my path. Forever you will stay. Step by step, I'll follow you. Your light will carry me through. Step by step, I'll follow you. Your word is faithful. Your love is true. Jesus, guide my path, light the road ahead. I will trust your word, every word you've said. When I cannot see, I will not be afraid. Jesus, guide my path. Forever you will stay. Guide my path. Oh, Jesus, guide my path. Guide my path. Jesus, guide my path. Cannot see, I will not be afraid. Jesus, guide my path. Forever you will stay.
We all have a disease inside of us. Yeah, we do. We do have a disease that is inside of us. I know some of you people out there are probably like, well, I'm healthy and fit and feel perfectly fine, but you still have a disease inside you. Rich, poor, big or small. We all happen to have a disease called sin. All of us has got it. And what is sin? It's any thought, action, or attitude that goes against God's will and law. That is exactly what that is. And we're all guilty of it, and accepting that you're a sinner and accepting it is half the battle right there. Okay, just like like if you're going to well, okay, you know what, let me throw this a little different slightly. Okay, you know how for some of you out there, Alcoholics Anonymous, or any other type of anonymous group, right, where you go for self-help, or with a community of trying to get healed, so you don't do the action anymore because you don't want to, right? So recognizing that you need help is the first step. Well, in this case, recognizing that you're a sinner and that you want to change is the first step. See what I'm saying? Romans chapter 6, verse 23, the wages of sin, though, is death. There's only one way, and that's Jesus. Believe me, I've been a sinner all my life. We as people think that, well, we'll just do better. I have self-control, or I have willpower. Yeah, I'm one of those fools that went off and said that and thought that. And actually, that was, I guess, what I thought was my gospel, right? I can do this all by myself. I've caught myself back in my younger days thinking that. I have. But guess what? Wrong. We all fail. We all sin. But by believing in Jesus and asking Him to come into our lives, yes, submitting to Christ. James chapter 4, verse 7, submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he'll flee from you. That's right. Seriously. If you go and you ask Jesus into your create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. Okay, because we're filthy on the inside because of sin. We're filthy on the inside. You might be one of the most beautiful people in the world, man or woman, whatever. But we're all filthy on the inside. We need change. We need to be cleansed. And believing in Jesus and the power of Jesus can do just that. Proverbs 3, chapter 3, verses 5 through 6. I barely can read my writing sometimes, sorry. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. See, we were just talking about that, right? And always acknowledge Him, and He will straight your paths. That's right. He will, because like I said, stepping stones to Christ. He will straighten your path in life. Okay. Instead of going all off the crooked ramps and the misdirects and the turns, the wrong turns that we do. Which that can be sin too, of course. It takes you off the road to Christ. Now, I want to give you a weird analogy. It's one I came up with many, 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 many years ago. Christianity is like riding a bicycle. I told my pastor friend Paul this. He was intrigued. And I said, Christianity is like riding a bicycle. Now you get this nice brand new bike. Remember that feeling when you were a kid? Heck, maybe you got a new bike now for all I know. But you got that new bike. You got that new shiny new bike. Maybe with a spoiler seat. Remember the banana seat? Okay, I know I'm showing my age, but banana seats and the high up thing, but behind your back. I don't know what that was called. Needless to say, so you got a brand new bike. That's your newfound Christianity. Your newfound you're being in Jesus. Okay, you're born again, and you're going down the road with your bike, and everything's fine for a little while. No problems. And suddenly, out of nowhere, let's say a dog runs out in front of you, or a car goes off and almost gets you, and it makes you fall off your bike. Been there, done that. That is a fact. And well, so you're off your bike. Maybe you got some scrapes, cuts. Maybe you accidentally broke or sprained something. Me, it was mostly scrapes and cuts. But do you say right after that, and the the sorry, the dog and the car are life's obstacles. All right, they're life's obstacles that get in your way from you to Christ on that bike. Your Christianity, see. So let me ask you. Now you're on the ground. You maybe got skins, your bruises and stuff because you got hurt from those other external forces in the world. Are you going to give up riding that bicycle? Are you just going to go and say, forget this nonsense and go put the bike in the garage or something else like that? No, no, that'd be foolish. That'd be dumb. You go off and you get on that bike and you keep moving forward. That is what life in Christ is. That's what it is. Christianity is like riding a bicycle. Weird analogy, but that's how I thought about that all these years ago. Now, we as humans in the world, in my opinion, now I'm just throwing this, I rarely will throw my opinion, but in this case, we're living in the end times right now. If you know what I'm talking about, good. If not, the end times pretty much are revealed somewhat in the book of Revelations and sometimes some of the older Old Testament prophets went off and gave little hints, but mostly the book of Revelation. But where I think, in my opinion, we're living in the end times right now. This world is changing so fast, all the time. But as long as you have breath and you have a heart that beats, you have a chance to become one with Jesus. This is important. This is more important now than it has been before. Seriously. On another show, we'll maybe tackle a little of the topic as to why. John chapter 15, verse 5. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing, and that's true. Without Christ, you are nothing. Now, I know that it's maybe sounds like I'm hammering at home, I'm drilling at home, but there are some things in life you kind of need some repetition. If it's one thing I'm going to tell you, is I have only a handful of times in my life have gone off and spoke about Jesus as far as for I don't mean to a non-believer is what I'm getting at, okay? And I only do it out of love. It's true, everybody, in life, I do think gets to a bottom. They feel their bottom. They're in an abyss, if you will. And we should be able to care for our fellow man. Try to help them out if you can. I'm still learning on that one. My patience isn't always exactly there. I will admit that. But if you can, telling about Christ is maybe the most important message that a person may ever hear. There's only one of two places that you're going to go when you leave this world behind, and we all will. One is heaven, being with God and Jesus. No more sorrow, no more tears, no more pain, and for eternity rejoicing his name by believing in Jesus and taking up your cross. And yes, taking up your cross means willing to suffer and die for him. That's extremely important. Now, does that scare you a little bit? A little, teensy weensy for me. But I'm going to tell you something. You only have one life here on earth. Okay? You only want to die once. You don't want to die twice. What do I mean by dying twice? Well, that's called hell. Eternal separation from God, eternal suffering and torment. All the songs about hell, about partying with your friends and doing what you want down there, it's all lies. Satan's a liar, a cheater, and a deceiver. That is a true fact. In these short programs, I'm only casting light on the truths of the gospel of Jesus Christ. In our journey together, yes, I'm always powered by coffee each and every time. In our journey together, as we walk on the stepping stones to Christ, we at first may stumble and fall like babies, but as we grow in our relationship with Jesus, we will be on solid ground through and through. Jesus, we will take up our cross, which leads us to our last song. A nice, I remember singing this in church. We still sing this in church, but it's been around a long time.
Lift high the cross, the love of Christ proclaim, till all the world adore His sacred name. Come, Christians, follow where our captain trod, our King victorious, Christ the Son of God. Lift high the cross, the love of Christ proclaim, till all the world adore His sacred name. Let on the way by this triumphant sign, the cross of body, monuments online. Lift high the cross, the love of Christ proclaim, till all the world adore His sacred name. Each newborn servant of the crucified bears on the crown the seal of Him who died. Lift high the cross, the love of Christ proclaim, till all the world adore His sacred name.
I love that song. I'm telling you, that is one of my oldies but goodies, if you will. So, really? 8-year-old grandsons. This will probably be the last time I'll be doing this one, at least live while he's here. I'll do the rest of them during the middle of the week. You grandparents know how that's like. I hope this helped some. If you do feel lost,
I'm gonna throw it at you.
Yeah. If you feel lost and confused about not sure where exactly to go, first pray to God. Now, talk to God like you talk to a friend, which is what He is. And this is true, okay? Some people go off and mention, hey, the sinner's prayer, but I don't know. I really don't. I'm sorry, I don't know about that. I think, out of all honesty, you just go to Him, okay? You talk to Him yourself, all right? You just ask for Jesus to come into your heart, but just talk to Him, all right? That's what you need to do. You don't need a middleman. You don't need any of that stuff. It's a personal relationship, okay? We are all children of God, so therefore, talk to your Father, right? Matthew chapter 6, verse 6. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Okay, so in other words, do your prayers in private. Okay, because it's personal. It's the personal relationship that you're starting to try to do, right? Now, just a couple little pieces of advice as I close this off. Find yourself a good church, honestly, okay? Not a pastor who sounds like a motivational speaker. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, let's see. Not to call out a lot, but we're going to do it anyway. The Word of Faith Fellowship type stuff, the prosperity gospel, that's a bunch of nonsense. And I would say at least 90% of these televangelists out there, okay, they are motivational speakers. They are not doing what a preacher should be doing. No candy-coated gospel, okay, in the church. I mean, I hate to say this, as much as we'd like to know that life is all sunny days, rainbows, unicorns, all that other stuff, right? We all know, okay, there's a heaven and a hell. There's good and bad, all right? Constant forces all the time. And yeah, sometimes it can get tiring. Oh, my Lord, how tired I get. So much. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. But it can't give up. You have to keep your eyes on the prize, which is looking to Jesus. That's right. And believing in Jesus till the end. Remember that first death I told you? That's what we're going to get. But you don't have to experience that second death. Believe in Jesus with your heart and your soul, and you'll have heavenly rewards. It's true. Now, last thing, you also want to go to a church where the pastor isn't afraid to talk about hell. Okay? Remember I said we don't want a candy-coated gospel? We also really don't want one that's always fire and brimstone, okay? I mean, yes, I don't think truthfully that it's not scare tactics, it's wake-up calls. That's what it is, okay? We don't want to scare people into submitting their lives to Christ. I don't think that's how that works. But we need to be informed, and reading the Bible, which is basically the guidebook to life itself, is another great start. You don't know where to start? Just pick a book, pick a chapter. I try to read 1 to 2 chapters a night. I usually start out with the New Testament only because that's the Gospels of Jesus, pretty much, and all that. But I'm telling you, the Old Testament's got a lot of major biblical events and prophecies and stuff like that. So, like I said, and find a really good friend that maybe happens to also be a Christian, and talk to them. I love you all. I know I probably don't know most of you, but I love you all anyway, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be a community on this world. Christians are the salt of the earth, the light of the world. I am a sinner. I am a horrible person, but I trust in Jesus. And that's why this has been Stepping Stones to Christ. I want you all to take care. God bless. And we will do this again real soon. By the way, if this meant anything, drop some comments, some suggestions, maybe you want what you'd like me to talk about in regards to this topic. I think that'd be very important. Also, share this video if you care to, please. Like I said, this is my first one. We're learning as we go along. All right. And I don't know. Like I said, I think we can, this is one way to grow in Christ for everybody. Jesus is Lord. Take care.